Pretty short update here in our chicken yard about our little chicken pond. It feels like a lot of folks have some great ideas that they wanted to share about how this is evolving, and it is evolving pretty rapidly now. The vegetation life layer has been started to be added to. It's starting to rain, so I thought I would make a quick video before I head inside about how this little pond is getting vegetated. So it is covered in duckweed. So about a week ago, I think, I went up to our Trumansburg spot, the 6-acre spot, where we have a little lined pond from way back when. I found a tiny lined pond thing on the side of the road and I put it in, and I scooped a big old yogurt container full of duckweed out of that and dumped it in here and stirred it around. I think the mixture of the chickens poking at it and then the rains coming in stirred the duckweed and really accelerated it. I find the water seems as though it's gotten a lot clearer since we've added it, and that's only a handful of days in. So the hens have been coming close to the edge to pick duckweed out and enjoy themselves, and it seems like it's starting to gain some traction here. I'm really excited to see what that can do. Started adding some chicken edible elements along the edges. So there's a shelf here. I just want to address too, because people mention if a chicken falls in, they're definitely going to die. I understand the concern. The sides are steeper than I'd like, but that's also because this is a very confined space that we're working in. This is a very shallow ledge, and so anybody that's here within 2 inches are touching stones and they can hop back out. And we use that ledge to plant in some minari, which is an aquatic perennial vegetable from Korea. The roots were pulled out and laid into this area, and then stones were put right back on top to help pin it in. They seem to be perking up really nicely. Also went through and added in wapato, or duck potato, which is a really beautiful pond-associated plant that we have in great abundance out by our pond at our neighbors. Pulled those right out of the muck, pushed them in here. This is again another flat, level area on this side where little beings could come and go if they needed to, and laid them in, put a little bit of clay on top and put a rock there. They're starting to send up some new shoots. Some of the old stuff's flopped over, but it's completely alive, and they seem to be on their way towards getting established in here. Not explicitly a food for the hens, but a nice boundary and edge plant. Now, in the spirit of dealing with any concerns if a little creature were to fall in here, either a chicken or a chipmunk or somebody like that, number one would be, if it's not the best thing in the world, but it could work, that if they were to fall in, they get anywhere near the edge, they can grab onto vegetation and scramble out from either any of these sides. It's nice and shallow on this side, a little steep over there, but I wanted to take it a step further, and so we found this board, black locust board that was laying in the chicken yard, and set it up to be a very simple, basically like a little dock. And what I did is I took 1 gallon plastic jug that we were using as a buoy for a pump for a pond, took that off and added it to the bottom of this with some 17 gauge wire tie. I know it's not a permanent solution, but it lives in the realm of free for now. Drilled some holes on the other side and tethered it to the cinder block. I don't see the cinder block moving under the dynamic forces of any creature that would be in here, except if I were to try to move it. And so it can move. It's got a little fulcrum, a pivot, and it's buoyant. It wants to stay afloat. And so with a fair bit of pressure, it goes down. So if a hen was trying to get out, they could land on that very easily. It's got good texture, and it wants to be up and out of the water just a little bit. So for $0, we have a little dock that they can walk out on. They're not encouraged to. We have a little sign off in the coop explaining how we dissuade them from walking on the dock, but if they were to fall in, that's a good way to get out. I have another board over there. I might do 2 or 3 of these, one coming this way, one from another spot. Same thing, cinder block, fulcrum, and a buoy so that it can stay afloat for a while. Maybe I'll do that with a whole bunch of bamboo, closed walled bamboo that we have in order to keep it afloat. But really nice, simple solution to give them a chance to get out if they were to fall in. What I think I might do, second step, would be to take some 1/2-inch hardware cloth that goes up and over, and then in a basket form straddles the sides of this out at the end, and then twist tie that in with metal wire so that we've got baskets in the middle of the pond that we can put more minari or more aquatic, so that they can hide the edge of this and have more things floating directly in the water. They look super scrappy and haggard right now, but all along the edge here is watercress. I went into the ditch at our neighbor's spot where we added watercress after he dug a ditch out a few years ago. It does incredibly well. There's also running water in there, in fairness, so this is a question mark, but I know the hens love watercress, and it's a great crop for them as far as nutrient density. It's in the edge of the pond, laid in with stones holding it in position. The hens are already starting to peck at it, so we'll see whether or not it can survive and get established with their very insistent attention, but there's another layer there. With enough vegetation, the duckweed's on its way to getting complete pond coverage. It's clarifying the water really, really nicely. I thought about the idea of adding fish. I think I might shy away from it for now. Somebody suggested that you can, with enough plants, you can get the filtering you need and the oxygen you need, and that we might want to be encouraging things like dragonflies and other little creatures to help with pollination and mosquito consumption later on. I might go that route once the fish are in. It's impossible to take them out. So we'll pause on that for now unless there's a really strong argument to commit fish right at the beginning. And that's the simple little pond. Funky, and you know, I get it. A couple people commented there was a theme of like, hey, that is too deep or too steep, and I understand what you're saying. Maybe it's a mistake, and we'll have to see and assess as we go. But it's completely free, working entirely with reclaimed materials, and I kind of like the feel of it, and the hens really enjoy it too. Very much welcome the constructive criticism, the comments, the ideas, the concerns. Please keep sharing them for sure. They're really helpful and thoughtful. Review the last video if you wanted to see other people's ideas on this subject. But I hope this lands as a compelling thing for some folks to consider. For the price, it's very worthwhile. This was definitely a good solid couple of hours in digging material, but like I said earlier on, it translated into great soil for other gardens. So it holds excess rainwater, and as the rain's coming in right now and the IBC tote is full, this will get topped off again. That excess water will filter through the stones down there, leaving duckweed in the crevices for the hens to pluck later. It all seems to work pretty nicely. Thanks for watching.